Hi, this is Kirsten. I'm going to be doing my presentation on the app/website Smiling Mind. This is an app that you can download onto your Apple and/or Android devices, such as iPads if you have those in your classroom. I do not have iPads in my class, so I'm going to be doing the website version that I've actually been utilizing in my room, and it also makes it a little bit easier to do this presentation. So this is what the homepage of the website looks like. We're going to click on the login sign up page. And since I already have an account with Smiling Mind, it's going to take me straight to the dashboard. To get onto the website in general, the URL is up here, or you can just type in Smiling Mind into Google and it should be the first link that pops up. So you can see I have a streak of 1 day because I've been playing with things online today. I've done 3 sessions, and totally my class has done 21 minutes and 42 seconds of guided mindfulness lessons. So one of the things that is kind of a quirk, kind of a downfall of this website is that it does say what my last session was, and you can see it's 105. And for up next, it's saying 101, which is actually the first lesson, so that's not entirely accurate, so you can't really go by that. We can go under my programs, and you can see what I've actually been working in. So this is the introduction to the whole kind of app, the whole website, what it does, what guided mindfulness is, why it's important, things like that. Okay, if we go under here, there's 16 whole lessons, and there's 55 sessions. So each kind of module or lesson has a few different components, as you can see here. So the program that I've been using is for children 7 to 9 years old. When we go under all programs, you can see the different options. So here you can see the different activities that are available. So each of these would be a module, these different numbers, and these would be the sessions. We typically do the first or just the first and second ones. And I've been kind of picking and choosing the ones we want to do based on issues we've maybe had in the previous week or things I think that we need help with in general. So I'm just going to keep scrolling through so you guys can see some of the different options, and I'll tell you about how I use it currently. So right now we do Mindfulness Mondays. So every morning before math, we get on the floor together and we do one of these lessons. One of the great things about doing a lesson together is I can make sure that they're following the instructions because I can hear it at the same time as they are hearing it. And we all kind of have the same foundation. We all have the same thing that we're working on. So if I refer to it throughout the week, we all know exactly what I'm talking about. And I can make sure that they're doing this with integrity and not just kind of going through the motions. Okay, I'm going to click on My Sessions. Okay, it says to keep track of what my sessions were. However, another issue I've had with this website is I have not done some of these. For example, I've never clicked on one that had a 2 in front. I've only done the modules with a 1. So even though it says that I've done these, I have not. But if we go back to my programs, it gives a little check mark next to the ones I've done, so that's an easier way for me to keep track. These are the ones that I have actually done with my classes. I'm going to go to all programs so everyone can see the options. So we have some different age groups to choose from. Unfortunately, it does not go below 7 years old, and there are bite-sized ones, which I appreciate. There's only 9 different sessions, but it's a great 1 to 3 minute if you need something like to calm them down right after recess to kind of bring them back into that classroom mindset. It's a really, really good way to get your kiddos back on the track for learning. Okay, I'm going to click on My Programs and actually open up one of the sessions so that you can see how to open them and you can kind of see and hear what they look like and sound like. So I'm just going to open up the first one here. This is one of the longer ones that we've done. It's kind of an introduction to what mindfulness is. Okay, this comes up at the beginning of every one of the audio lessons. So since we do this as a class, we don't really fill this out because I don't want to put each child on the spot, and they all have different feelings for those, so I don't want to put them one way or the other. So we're just going to click skip. Okay, and then this audio player comes up. So you click the play button and he comes on. He has a wonderful Australian accent. That's pretty similar to how they all start. He does a little introduction on kind of what mindfulness is, and he gives directions on how he wants your body as we start this audio lesson. And then for the rest of it, he will go over kind of a strategy to be more mindful. So this one, the bubble journey, kind of talks about bubbles of air and blowing bubbles of air out in order to kind of train your mind to be more in the moment. So this is a really great way to reference things throughout the week. So if I have a kiddo who's just kind of all over the place during, let's say, our spelling lesson, I can tell him to remember his bubbles. And he can sit and practice this bubble journey strategy, and it's not interrupting the rest of my class. It's a silent, independent thing that he can do on his own now that he's been instructed how to do it. Okay, now that I've kind of shown you the website, I'm going to go over some of the more particular areas. So some of the benefits that I really see with using this website or app, the audio lessons are really easy to use. You just find the program you want to do, so the age range, and you pick the lesson you want, just click play, and it's ready to go. It shows you which lessons you've done. So if you remember that, that programs page, it gives kind of a check mark next to all of the things that we've already done in my class. This is a really easy thing that we can do together as a class that doesn't have to be independent. It's been a really good way for us all to be on the same page. And there are a variety of age ranges available on the website in the app. Okay, a couple of the constraints. You can't link student accounts. So I can't make an account for each student. If they do this independently, or when they do this independently, they have to utilize my account, or will have to set up their own, which is just another username and password that we have to remember. It's a little bit more difficult to do it independently. So there's only one way to set up the website or app, and that's the way that I've already shown you. And because of some of the glitches and some of those features of the website, it can be a little more difficult for especially younger children to navigate. Some of those lessons can be repetitive. If you saw when I was scrolling through some of those programs, I skipped some of the lessons because they were very repetitive. They're also repetitive between the age ranges. So the lessons for the 7 to 9 kiddos are incredibly similar to the lessons for 10 to 12. Even though I know those 10 to 12-year-olds, I mean, they're pre-teenagers and might think that some of this is a little below them. Okay, there's a lot of things that you can do with this website that you just can't do on paper. So these lessons are on guided mindfulness, and mindfulness is just not something that's as easily to do on paper because it's better to do over audio. If we're trying to relax and calm down and really get into the headspace of learning, it's a lot easier to do that over an audio recording than it is to look at a white sheet of paper, read it, understand it, and then go through the steps. I could guide it, but those lessons are already pre-recorded. They're already research strategies. They're already strategies that the children can use easily, and it's completely set up for me already. The audio lessons are really great to use in a group setting. You can also use them individually. So it's another really good plus of something we can't do as well on paper. Having it over audio allows us to do this much better in a group. With mindfulness, you may need to use it at a moment's notice. So you may see that your kids are just really off track that day. They're just not in the right headspace to be learning. So you need to pull out a mindfulness lesson just within seconds. And that website or the app is already there for you to use. There's no prep. There's nothing to copy. There's nothing to research. It's there for you to use. And you can see which of the lessons you've done before, which is something that might be a little bit more difficult to keep track of on paper. This is the plan that I've been using in my classroom. So we do this as a group right now, once a week. So we do Mindfulness Mondays. They come in Monday morning, and right before our math, we do a mindfulness lesson to kind of get us in the right headspace for the morning. You can add lessons as needed. So if on Thursday you just notice your kids are not in the right headspace, you can do another lesson, or you can do one of those bite-sized lessons, those 2 or 3 minute ones. You can pick and choose your lessons. So I don't, when I'm planning for it right now, I don't just write in my plans what lesson I'm going to do. I kind of feel out my kids and what I think they're going to need to be successful that week. For more independent mindfulness, the students can revisit the lessons throughout the week. So since the check mark is next to the ones that we've already done, they can get on their Chromebooks. They all have Chromebooks. They can plug in their headphones and lay on the floor and do any of the lessons with a check mark next to them, because they're ones that I already know they've gone through, that they use correctly, and that I can reference back to. I don't want them doing a completely new lesson, because then I can't reference back to it. It's like with the bubble journey, I could tell them to remember to use that bubble strategy. But if they're doing, if I don't know what lesson they did, I can't really refer back to it to help them throughout. So I think Smiling Mind is a really great thing to do in your classroom. It's been really helpful in mine, especially since I can reference it, since we did it as a group. I hope if you choose to use it, you have a good experience as well.